Your WavyOcho. I'm gonna react to Teofimo Lopez. How Teofimo Lopez lost his magic.
Lopez has gone from an undisputed champion and promising young star to someone whose future is heavily being questioned. So what happened? I apologize as this video is probably slightly overdue, but I really wanted to talk about Teofimo Lopez and his current situation, especially after his poor performance against Sandor Martin earlier this month. If you didn't see this fight, Teofimo Lopez looked nowhere near the usual version of himself. He arguably got dropped twice with the same check lead right.
Damn, she got dropped twice, bro. That's crazy.
The first and only confirmed knockdown came in the third round when Teofimo Lopez had Sandor Martin against the ropes and tried to lunge forward, but Sandor Martin timed him with a perfect check right hook. The second and unconfirmed knockdown came in the seventh round when Teofimo Lopez thought that he had hurt Sandor Martin and tried to capitalize, but again, as Teofimo Lopez was moving forward, Martin would time him with another check right hook. The referee would call this a slip instead of a knockdown, and to be fair, it does look like a slip in real time, probably especially from the referee's angle, but in slow motion you can clearly see Teofimo Lopez getting caught with that check right hook and falling because of the impact of that punch. And even though these were the only quote-unquote knockdowns of the fight, throughout the whole entire match, it seemed like Sandor Martin had the timing on Teofimo Lopez coming in and kept hitting him with the same check right hook. And even though Teofimo Lopez was able to have his moments against Sandor Martin, especially with his explosiveness and athleticism, it seemed like he never adjusted to Sandor Martin's timing, especially that lead hook that he kept throwing. Though by the end of the fight, he was granted a very close and controversial split decision, to which many fans even argued that Sandor Martin was robbed. But whether or not you thought this was a robbery for Martin, everybody could agree that this was a very poor performance by Teofimo Lopez. So what happened? How did we go from talking about Teofimo Lopez as this promising young star that was an undisputed champion?
Damn, my son got mad belts, bro. My son looked like he was fucking undefeated, bro. All those belts, bro.
At 135, to arguably losing against a guy you were slated to beat decisively and having fans question whether or not you can even compete with the top guys in your division. Well, to do so, we have to rewind a bit and go back to 2020 when he first became the undisputed champion of 135. Going into the Lomachenko fight, Loma was seen as definitely the best lightweight in boxing and arguably the best pound-for-pound boxer, period. Loma had 3 of the major belts, which included the WBA, the WBO, and the WBC lightweight title. Teofimo was also coming into this fight very hot, as he was at the time undefeated and knocked out 12 of his 15 opponents. But despite this, Teofimo Lopez was coming in a massive underdog. Lomachenko was a minus 400 favorite, which basically means that he had an 80% chance to win. Though when the actual fight started, Teofimo Lopez was the one that looked very, very good and was able to pressure and back down Lomachenko with his combinations. Lomachenko can sometimes be a very slow starter, and he sometimes takes the early rounds to figure out his opponent, but in this case it was to his detriment, as Teofimo Lopez was able to take advantage of this slow start and bank these early rounds with his pressure and strength. Though to Lomachenko's credit, he was able to figure out Teofimo Lopez, especially in the latter rounds, but by then it was too little too late. By the end of the fight, Lopez got a clear unanimous decision and became the undisputed lightweight champion of the world at only 23 years old. But his next fight against George Kambosos completely derailed everything. Going into the George Kambosos fight, Teofimo Lopez was this time the big betting favorite, and this looked like a tune-up fight for a possible Lomachenko rematch or a fight with somebody else that was top in the division. Instead of an easy steamroll for Teofimo Lopez, we got an absolute dogfight, a bloody back and
Yeah. Who's breaking each other up, bro? All those blood. This is mad bloody. Look at Teofimo, bro. Face, bro. This shit his eyes leaking, bro. Mad blood, bro.
fourth, and one of my favorite fights of 2021. The fight would start out pretty hot as Teofimo Lopez would come out guns blazing trying to find that knockout. He said before the fight in multiple press conferences that he was going to knock out George Kambosos, and it was pretty evident that he was looking for the knockout as he was overextending with his right hand. Though they often say in boxing to never look for the knockout, because in this case, George Kambosos was able to take advantage of Teofimo Lopez's over-aggression and time him coming in with a huge right hand. This would drop Teofimo Lopez and show everybody that this was going to be more than just a tune-up fight. And though Teofimo Lopez stopped aggressively trying to look for a one-punch knockout, it was George Kambosos who got the best of the exchanges, and he started to take control, especially of the middle rounds of the fight. And though not as aggressive as the first round, Teofimo was still trying to find one big punch. And even when he did land that big punch, George Kambosos was able to eat it very well. The fight more or less would continue like this up until the 10th round when Teofimo Lopez was able to land a big right hand and finally drop George Kambosos. Teofimo would be able to rally and get a couple of the latter rounds, but it wasn't enough to close the gap, and George Kambosos won by unanimous decision. After this unfortunate loss, he would move up to 140 pounds and start campaigning there. His first fight at this new weight class would be Pedro Campa, and overall he had a very great performance. He looked very comfortable from start to finish, and he was very sharp, had great footwork, and finally got the finish in the 7th round. And though this was a clean and dominating performance by Teofimo Lopez, Pedro Campa is definitely not the best competition for him, and he's nowhere near a top 15 boxer in the division. But granted, if you move to a new weight class and you're coming off of a loss, you definitely want a sure win to get back your confidence, so I don't really blame Teofimo for taking this fight. So after this fight, this would bring us back to Sandor Martin, which I said earlier was a very poor performance for Teofimo Lopez. Unlike Pedro Campa,
Teofimo's from New York, like, cause I see New York in his, like, boxer shorts, bro.
the most
NYC, it says NYC, bro.
organization, Sandor Martin is a top 15 boxer in the division, and so because of this new level of competition, Teofimo Lopez was unable to dominate him like he did Pedro Campa. So this finally brings us to the main question of this video, which is what is the problem with Teofimo Lopez? How did he lose that magic he once had when he beat Lomachenko, and why has his last performances been so inconsistent? I think the first and major reason why he has had these type of performances is because he relies way too much on his talent and talent alone. Teofimo Lopez is super athletic and extremely explosive, but he usually has this
Damn, is he doing a backflip? Is he backflipping?
ability to adjust. Sure, he showed us his technical prowess against Campa, but again, that wasn't the best competition. During the Sandor Martin fight, he was unable to adjust to that check lead right hook, and in the Kambosos fight, he was unable to adjust to Kambosos' volume and toughness. And what's worse is that his dad, who is his head coach, perpetuates this problem. His dad is kind of a yes man, and during the Kambosos fight, he kept telling Teofimo Lopez that he was winning every round, up until the point where he kind of got annoyed and told him to just finish the fight already. I think this poor cornering advice is very telling, and it shows that their game plans are very over-reliant on Teofimo Lopez's explosiveness. Plan A is to go in there and explode and try to find a knockout, and if that doesn't work, there is no plan B and there are no adjustments. And I think the reason why they don't have a plan B or refuse to do any adjustments is because they kind of underestimate their opponents. For example, when Teofimo Lopez fought somebody that they didn't underestimate in Lomachenko, they fought a technically great fight. They intelligently put the pressure on Lomachenko in the early rounds and took advantage of his inactivity and won the fight because of that game plan. Though against guys like Kambosos or Martin, fights in which Teofimo Lopez is heavily favored, they revert back to relying on one simple game plan, which is to knock them out using his explosiveness and power. So what's the solution? How can we get Teofimo Lopez back into contention and potentially be the champion of 140 pounds? I think the tough but obvious solution is for Teofimo Lopez to leave his dad as his head coach. He needs a new head coach that can go over game plans and tactics and that can make the right adjustments in the fight live. Teofimo Lopez is easily athletically capable to become a champion at 140 pounds, but he definitely needs a better strategist in his corner if he wants to actually beat the top guys in this division. And though his last performances haven't looked too good, he's only 25 years old. His career is far from over, and he can easily make the right adjustments in his corner so that they can make the right adjustments in the fight. But until then, I'm not confident in saying that Teofimo Lopez can be the champion at 140. Anyways, what do you guys think? Is Teofimo Lopez still capable of becoming the champion at 140?
Okay, that's it. That's the vid. So yeah, what y'all think about Teofimo Lopez, bro? Like fucking I never seen this man box before. Like, to be honest, I haven't watched boxing in like mad long, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Just, like I seen like clips and all that shit, but I haven't watched it in mad long. I haven't watched it in a minute now. So yeah, bro. Like yeah, bro. If y'all know if y'all like watch this man like perform, let me know how he is, how he is, bro. How nice his shit work, you know. So yeah, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know the vibes. Whoever's checking out, you are.